It's November 3rd, a Wednesday morning here at the West End Gun Club, out here on the Rimfire Range. Going to do a run through of the NRL22 November 2021 Course of Fire. It's a breezy morning today. I wasn't keeping track of the weather report other than temperature, so I didn't realize it was going to be breezy. We got about 10 mile an hour to 15 mile an hour gusts, so it's going to play havoc with windage today, but it is what it is. We'll still do the run through. Little snafu this morning. My magneto speed failed. For some reason, it's just throwing some weird bootloader error, and I'm gonna have to diagnose it when I get home. I used it last when I was at the when I was here shooting the October match, and I used it during zeroing period and it worked fine, but just now it failed. So I don't know what's going on. Using the same memory card. I mean, I don't know if the memory card's an issue, but anyway, we'll diagnose it when I get home. Hopefully it's not a serious issue. Anyway, got my Voodoo relatively zero. I mean, it's zeroed for. I'm going to use SK long range match. It's kind of like my practice ammo instead of Center X. It's shooting fine today. I just had to warm it up with about 10 rounds, and now it's grouping. It's a little bit 1/10 of a mil either way, depending on how this wind is swirling right now. But we'll make it work. Anyway, got all the targets set up, got them all laid out. I think I have everything the way I want it, and then we'll go ahead and start shooting some stages. Being that Veterans Day is in November, this month's Course of Fire is Veterans Day themed, or Veterans themed, Armed Forces themed. So the first stage that we're going to run through is called the United States Army, 122nd part-time, 10 rounds. It's all going to be shot on a single target, 3-inch at 82 yards. You're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, the shooter will engage the target with 2 shots from 5 different positions on the tank trap. Hit or miss, move to the next position. The positions will be 2 different tips, the center, and 2 different lower legs between the center and the ground. So basically this part of the tank trap. Here's the notation here. No part of the rifle or gear may touch the ground. So the way I read that is, if you were going to shoot this, the lower portion, your bag cannot be used to support the rear of the rifle. That's the way I understand it, because that is your gear, so it cannot be on the ground. I've already thought about this a little bit. You can see how my rifle's configured. I plan on using the bipod as a jam support. My spigot mount is going to be my, kind of like my rest point for the rifle on the tank trap. It's going to be biting into that, and I'm just basically going to put forward pressure on this. That's the way I'm probably going to shoot it. Some people may elect to put a bag, and maybe bag up close and support it with their hand here. That's going to be all up to you, rifle dependent. Obviously, with an open gun or a rifle with a lot more versatility like this, you have a lot more options. So that's kind of the benefit of open class versus base class. Anyway, you should be able to find a way to make it work, but that's how I plan on running it. But let's go ahead and run through it. It's pretty straightforward in terms of what you're shooting and how you're shooting it. Just trying to do the positions in the way that your body can handle those. All right, let's go and run through it. Missed the last shot. I rushed it. Had plenty of time. 85-7. As you saw at the end of that string, I missed the last shot. 9 for 10. I was rushing that last shot because I wasn't sure if I was running out of time. Not sure if my timer's correct because it only detected 5 shots, but it says I have 85.74 elapsed. I'm assuming it would have picked up my last shot here, so I'm guessing that's right. I'll review the video when I'm editing this to see how much time I really took. But that being said, it's a pretty straightforward stage. I didn't have much trouble jamming my rifle against the front legs or the bottom legs. Got enough support, and it seemed stable enough, although I did miss a shot. And the way the range, or the way this tank trap is going to be oriented at our range, you're pretty much going to use just the side tips and the side legs. You're not going to use the forward leg. It's just, I mean, I guess you could if you felt like it. I know some people are short enough or small enough, or compact enough that they can sit on this and use that front leg or that front tip. Go ahead and do it if you can, but I wouldn't. Just too uncomfortable for me. Other than that, not much to say. Just if you're going to practice this, just figure out how you're going to jam your rifle or rest your rifle on the bottom legs without your rear chassis or rear stock touching the ground with the bag, because your bag is part of your gear, and the notes say your no gear or the rifle may touch the ground during this stage when you're shooting. So you can't use rear rifle rest for this part of the tank trap. So practice that, see how you can shoot that. I honestly don't see base class having much of a problem. Obviously, it's probably easier with open class. Depending on how your rifle's set up, you have a lot more flexibility. I would personally just use your bipod as the jam point. And as long as you're not touching the barrel against the tank trap, it should be safe to do that. I mean, you won't affect accuracy, and you should be fine. Anyway, that's it for this stage. Let's move on to the next one. Second stage we're running through today is called the United States Marine Corps 122nd part-time 12 rounds. We got 4 targets, 4 distances. We have a 2.5 inch at 55, 3 inch at 66, 5 inch at 77, and a 6 inch at 88. We're going to be standing, rifle and all gear grounded, mag in, action open. It's a 12 rounder, so you're probably going to need 2 mags if you're in a state with restrictions. Otherwise, you can use your larger capacity magazine. Anyway, on the start signal, shooter will take a supported prone position and engage each target with 1 shot from near to far, hit or miss, move on. Shooter will then get up, touch a designated object at least 10 feet behind the shooting position. Shooter will then repeat the cadence, 1 shot near to far, hit or miss to move on, 2 more times. So that's total of 4 rounds. So 4 shots, 1, 2, 3, 4, run back, come back, 1, 2, 3, 4, run back, come back, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a safety cone, pylon. It's about 12 feet. Well, it's 10 feet for this concrete, so I added a couple feet just for good measure. The shooting position, you're slightly back, so we'll call that 10 feet for the case of this situation or this scenario. But let's go ahead and run through it. It seems pretty straightforward. I finished with 53 seconds elapsed, which is really fast. And when I was shooting this, I thought it was really easy. And I left my parallax kind of in the middle of all the targets, that distance. I held over, didn't have to touch any of my knobs. And it was really dead simple. And it's because the targets are really big. And when I was reading this Courts of Fire, after I downloaded it when it was available, and I'm not sure if they updated or amended it, but option 1, for the 100-yard ranges, it's a 2.5 inch at 55. It's okay, right? 3 inch at 66. It's okay. But now you got a 5-inch at 77 and a 6-inch at 88 yards. And I had to read this again because it does say you're shooting from a prone supported position. And I don't see the real difficulty here, other than the fact that you have to get up and run 10 feet back, come back and start shooting again. But the fact that your rifle is remaining here, it's going to be on the rested prone position, and you just got to get back behind the rifle, and it's already on target. There is no difficulty here, other than the physical aspect here. So I anticipate most people should be able to clean the stage, considering how big these targets are, and even today's winds. Well, thankfully in today's winds, those big targets helped out. But you have so much leeway that you don't have to touch your parallax. I mean, it's almost dead simple. And I think the only thing they could do to make this more difficult is to shrink the targets down. Like go to a 3-inch or 4-inch at 88, maybe a 3-inch at 77, and cut it down to like a 2.5 and a 2 for 66 and 55 respectively. And the only other thing I can think they can make this a little more challenging is if you actually had to pick up your rifle and go back and then come back and get back in position. Although I anticipate NRL22 will probably not want to do that for this type of this discipline because it's a little bit more advanced in terms of the movement, and you don't want beginners running around with the rifle. Bad things can happen. So I can see why they wouldn't want to do that. If anything, I think if you wanted to keep it safe is where you had to get up after the 4, go touch the object, come back here, pick up your gun, and rest, stand up straight and come back down. And that would definitely increase the difficulty there because you'd have to reset completely. So anyway, I think this stage, the United States Marine Corps on this course of fire is pretty simple. Anyway, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next stage. The next stage you're running through is called the United States Air Force, and coincidentally, I just happen to be wearing a U.S. Air Force shirt. 122nd part-time, 10 rounds. We have 4 targets at 2 banks. We have a 1.5-inch and a 2.5-inch at 70 yards, and a 2-inch and a 3-inch at 100 yards. You're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will engage the targets in the following manner and order. Prone. You can take a prone position. It doesn't say what side, but just prone. Near small twice, far small twice. So small, small 2 times each. Then you're going to go to the chair seat. Near large, far large, 1 shot each. So near large, far large, 1 shot each. Chair back rest, near large, far large, 1 shot each. Then back to the chair seat, near large, far large. So it's just prone, small, small, 2 times, 2 times. Seat, large, large, 1 time each. Rest, large, large, 1 time each. Chair seat, large, large, 1 shot each. No part of the rifle or gear may touch the ground when engaging from the chair, and nothing may touch the seat when engaging from the backrest of the chair. Your chair is going to be facing downrange. So I guess the whole goal is, they don't want you to put any gear on the chair to rest you when you're shooting from here, on the seat when you're shooting from the backrest, and they don't want you putting any gear on the ground to support your rear of your rifle when you shoot from here. It's pretty straightforward. Let's see how this goes. I anticipate this stage might cause people some problems. Prone stage, or prone supported is simple enough. I did drop around though. I was holding over. It's a small target. I don't think my dope is all 100% correct for this ammo though, but I was doing 0.4 and then trying to hold 1.1 because it says I need 1.5 with this ammo for 100. But anyway, the prone's not a problem. It's this seat. It's a very small opening here, and we're shooting an angle at this range. Right now I have it relatively flat. I have that little stilt there to get this elevated up, and I might implement that. I think the only reason I don't want to use that is because you may have the tendency to tip if you're going to use this rest here, or the rest, but I think we'll have to use the stilt to get more elevation so people have an angle, because the window needs to shift up. And I don't know. We'll see. Either way, you got a very small window. The bag is pretty much worthless because the bag is going to be too tall. You're going to be hitting your scope. If you can get the bag very close forward of the forend, you might be able to put it here and kind of sit back more. You lose stability there. I think ideally you'll want to jam up really close. If you can. The problem at hand is if you have like a chassis or a bipod combo like mine where you're pretty tall, it's a 1.5-inch mount, you don't really have much leeway here. And so right now I can sort of wedge this in here, but my bipod is rocking. If I try to put a bag here, I'm gonna run into the rest of the chair. So your options are going to be limited here, and unless you know your given stage and how you're going to be able to fit a bag here, it could be pretty difficult given the chair at your facility or whatever the venue you're at, what they use. Top of the rest is not a big deal. You got plenty of room, but this is going to be the problem here. The question is, what's your body position going to be? I was trying to do a kneeling position, which is a bad idea. I should just sat down. Should have just sat down so I don't cramp up my rib or my ab, and shot like this. But I was kneeling. I was actually kind of kneeling and kind of hunching forward. I should have just took a sitting position, and this would have allowed me to shoot a lot more comfortably. Just take a sitting, traditional, put your flats of your arms against your front of your shins, and this is very stable. So kind of the way I should have done it, instead of trying to get into a kneeling position like this and hunching down. That's where I lost all my points. So live and learn. I ran it twice. Did it with my Area 419 / Coltac D bag, and I tried it with this flat tab gear bag. But both times I didn't use a good sitting position here, so I should have just got on my butt and shot like this, and I would have probably cleaned this portion of the stage had I done it this way. But live and learn. Just got to know how to approach it, right? Don't try to force a bad position, I guess. If you're in a bad position, it doesn't feel right, you got to think fast. Can you assume a different approach to that scenario to get more comfortable and a better shot? So that's what I should have done, instead of forcing this kneeling position here and trying to squeeze my body down, which was pretty bad. And I got no support here. Yeah, hunching my head over on one side. Yeah, anyway, learn from me. Approach this one a little bit better. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next stage of fire. The fourth stage of fire we're running through today is called the United States Navy, 122nd part-time, 10 rounds. We're shooting the KYL rack, all 4 targets, the 1-inch, 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/4 inch at 35 yards. You're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will engage the targets from large to small from the appropriate step. The 1 inch from the 4th step, the 3/4 inch from the 3rd step, the 1/2 inch from the 2nd step, and that 1/4 inch from the 1st step of the bottom step. Each target must be hit 2 times to move to the next target. Once the shooter reaches the smallest target, they will stay on that target until all rounds have been fired or time expires. So basically, it's hit to move on. Pretty straightforward. It's just keep yourself stable, make your hits on the KYL. Let's go ahead and try it out, see how it goes. Pretty sure I'm out. I finished with plenty of time on the clock. 76 seconds elapsed. So I was really trying to get stabilized on this fourth rung. And I got my hits. I missed a round here and I missed a round on the bottom rung. And given the amount of time that I took, although it didn't detect all rounds, so maybe 76 is wrong, but I still had plenty of time, and I could afford to be a little bit more relaxed on this stage. And I think it's just a question of just getting stable, taking your time, especially on the half-inch and quarter-inch, just to make sure that you're taking a clean shot. Other than that, it should be pretty straightforward, and you should be able to clean this, even though I dropped 2 in this run-through. I'm going to just shoot this again for fun, but I think this is a pretty straightforward and relatively moderate stage in this course of fire. I wouldn't be too concerned about this one. Just take your time, in my opinion. Just get into the position fast, but stabilize. Take your time to stabilize and shoot, and then you should be okay. Barely cleaned it. Just barely nicked it. Last stage we're running through today is called the United States Coast Guard. 122nd part-time, 10 rounds. We have 3 targets, a 1-inch at 45, 1.5 inch at 60, and a 2-inch at 100 yards. This is the timed bonus stage. So if you finish with extra time on the clock, you get a 1/10 of a bonus point per second remaining. You're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, the shooter will take a prone supported position and engage the targets in the following order: hit or miss, move on. Far near, far middle, far near, far middle, far near. It's just alternating far and then, well, so it's alternating, yeah. It's alternating between like near and middle, but inserting fars in between. So just far near, far middle, far near, far middle, far near. It's pretty straightforward. Just got to remember what you shot 2 targets ago, and you should be okay. That's pretty much it. Just keep it straight in your head and you should be fine. It's a prone supported stage, so there's no real difficulties there. Let's go ahead and run through this and see how it goes. All right, so I did run through that twice. The first time, there were some guys that pulled in behind me, and I don't know what they were doing because they just came to use the porta potty here. But ran through it twice. The first time, I finished with barely enough time, and I actually lost track of how many rounds I fired. As far as I could tell, I was alternating correctly. I just missed one iteration, so I looked at my mag, and I still had 2 more shots. So I shot those and finished with just enough time. I ran it a second time, which was much smoother, 94.37 a lap, so I had plenty of time, and I dropped 1 round though. I think it's just I missed 1 at the 100-yard. It's windy today, and I think my my Kestrel's giving me the wrong data for the SK long-range match, or my velocity's slower, because I think I needed more than 1.5. I was holding 1.7, and I still missed low. So I don't know. I just need to recalibrate for that ammo. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward stage. You should be able to make your hits. I think the issue for me was just parallax. If you see me reaching over, I like to support the gun. So what I do is I support the gun with my sport hand, and since this hand is moving off of the gun to operate the bolt, I'm using this to adjust parallax. I know some people actually use this to adjust parallax, but you're switching hands, right? And since you're using this hand to change your support, especially on this range where you have change in elevation, so you have to adjust your bag for each distance, you're better off just doing your reaching over the top and adjusting parallax with your shooting hand, because it's already off the gun. Why would you? Because I see some people do this often where they'll get on, close bolt, then do this, and then come back. It's wasted motion. So I just like to, fire, go, adjust parallax, close, shoot, parallax, and that's just the way I do it. That's kind of why I like the Collis, because they have the parallax in the top, so it's a little easier to get to. But even with parallax traditionally on the left side, it's not a big deal. You can just reach over, and if you have something like the Zero Compromise where the turrets are very smooth, including the parallax, it's not a big deal. So anyway, that's it for this stage. You just got to be careful on your holds so you don't miss that 100-yard. Know your dope, know your reticle, and you should be fine. And you should finish with plenty of time. Anyway, that's it for this course of fire. That's all 5 stages. I'm going to go ahead and pull in targets, get things cleaned up, repainted, put in the condensate container, and we'll close out this vlog.
Wind southeast 15 miles an hour. Friday night, mostly clear.
I was just paying attention to the NOAA weather reports when I was coming in here, once I saw the wind was going on. And it seems like it's going to hit about 15 to 20 mile an hour here in the afternoon, maybe. Depends how it comes down through the passes and the canyons. Anyway, I got the condensate container all sealed up, and I'm just packing up all my gear. This November course of fire, it's okay. I mean, there's one difficult stage, I would say, and that was going to be the what was it? The chair stage. Might cause people problems, but just find an optimal position to shoot that seat from, and you should be fine. But there's a couple really easy stages this month, so you should have no problems scoring pretty high in a couple stages, just to kind of get you some good motivation and get a good rhythm while you're shooting this match. So I wouldn't be too concerned there. Other than that, not much else to say on this course of fire. If you want to shoot at the West End Gun Club, our match, the NRL22 November course of fire, that match is going to be the 4th Sunday of November. It's always the 4th Sunday of the month. That happens to fall after Thanksgiving. That's Thanksgiving Day weekend. A lot of people were wondering if I was going to still hold it, and I said, yeah, it's always going to be 4th Sunday regardless of what that day is. If 4th Sunday happens to be Christmas, I'll say that it's going to be on, but if we have no signups, I'll cancel it. But it's always going to be 4th Sunday. We can't move it. That's just, it's the club calendar and how all these ranges are all reserved. It's all based on like what Sunday, what Saturday of the month it is. So NRL22 is always 4th Sunday of the month. The weird timing is that's the last weekend of November, and December, December 1st happens right there. So that following weekend is going to be the next NRL22 course of fire in December. Depending on timing, I might actually come out here and do the December run through before we even have our November match. It's all based on whether or not I'm able to take a certain day off the week after Thanksgiving. But we'll see. It'd be kind of odd to do 2 run-throughs and not have shot that first match. So it's going to be kind of awkward to do that for myself because I'll be keeping track of 2 different matches or 2 different courses of fire. But it's all the way the timing is, and my schedule too. And I like to, granted I could shoot the run-through later in the month of December, but I like to shoot it early in December or before the first week in December because I know some people actually get some benefit of watching the course of fire run-throughs before they shoot their match, and since their match may happen on the first weekend of the month, it's nice to do a run-through before that first weekend. But sometimes I just can't do it. It's just all based on my schedule. Anyway, there's not much else to say. I have a couple things coming in. I was hoping to have them here today, but with courier services, UPS, FedEx, and USPS, they're all pretty much delayed now because of all the, I guess, workforce issues, supply chain issues, etc. That everything's delayed. And holiday season, I anticipate it's gonna be terrible. I mean, for shipping, you probably won't get stuff for 3 or 4 days after you normally would. So good luck there. I even had a package lost. I ordered something from Brownells. Once it hit the Tennessee hub, disappeared. Like it just arrived in Tennessee, never left. And the funny thing is, anything that goes through Tennessee always gets delayed by at least a day. And I think my most recent order from Brownells didn't go through Tennessee. They just went through a different hub. So I think they're trying to not use the Tennessee hub, at least FedEx. I don't think you can, Brownells can't tell FedEx, hey, ship it, don't ship through this hub. It just goes to wherever it goes based on where it's going to, right? But I just found it funny that my most recent orders, they would have went through the Tennessee hub for FedEx, but now they did not. So it goes to show how things going on in the world are just totally affecting everything that we do. I mean, we thought COVID, you're not doing shopping anymore, so shop online. And they said, oh, no one's going to shop online, but hey, that's how we're doing everything now. And so it puts more stress on basically transportation. Transportation is the key. So anyway, I don't want to digress. But I was hoping to have those 2 items, but I won't have them. I didn't have them today. I was hoping to have one of my other rifles kind of reconfigured to shoot out today, but probably won't be able to do that. I might come out next weekend. Veterans Day. Veterans Day. This is a Veterans Day themed match, so forgot to mention, thanks to everyone, to all you veterans out there. People like my dad who served Air Force. He's a retired Air Force. I know everybody in all branches except the Coast Guard. I don't know anybody in the Coast Guard. But I have friends and family in all 4 branches. And so thanks to all of you and everyone I don't know who served. Much appreciated. Go get your free lunch if you can. I mean, before COVID, my dad and I would just take my dad driving around. We'd just go score his free meals and stuff that you get for Veterans Day. So if you can do that, take advantage of it. You earned it. But on Veterans Day, I might actually come out here and bring those items that I was hoping to have. I should have them by next week, so it'll be nice to shoot with those things. Anyway, that's it for today. Today is November, I'm looking at my watch, which I don't have a date on it. November 3rd, Wednesday here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching. See you in the next vlog.